Hi everyone.
Everybody, what's going on, man?
Hey, good afternoon. I don't even know what this is called anymore, but I just wanted to step in real quick. What did Amor went on his first field trip today, right?
Yeah, he did.
He had, I don't know if you can hear him.
Yes, he did.
Right? He had a field trip today, and I'm quite excited for him. But I said, look, when we're coming back, before I sing and tape you real quick, sometimes people ask us a lot of questions about our relationship and just stuff in general. And I think that I find it interesting that the both of us sometimes avoid answering certain questions about our relationship or relationships in general because it always goes back to us. It's always about share your private, talk about what you've gone through. And I think that, hi, and I think that as Sarah and I, you know, just thinking about our relationship, that's exactly what got us into certain realizations in the first place, which is just like, for me, you know, taking responsibility and saying that, you know, when you are with someone for 15 years and you say, hey, let's really keep shit real in terms of what we're witnessing, in terms of how our energy not only attracts, but also what it does together. I think that when you're with somebody for that long, that's just something you pay attention to. And from, I would say, the first 6-7 years, we were just so aware. I'm not gonna sit here too long either because it's hot as balls.
We were just so aware how our personal relationship was basically like being used almost like the poster child relationship of what so-called conscious relationship should be. And I think what that did was it created a situation where we almost felt like we had to live up to that. And then what that did was it created a situation where publicly now, where privately now, we're dealing with the public perception of what we are in our personal relationships. And it really did a lot to somewhat undermine our intimacy aspect of stuff. So now we're at a stage where in coming to this realization, I feel like we need to make a public declaration to the fact that our relationship is not predicated upon what the public believe that it's supposed to be, because a lot of people will build you up in this so-called community to be the sacrificial lamb for that, and they didn't realize that until maybe we separated ourselves and were actually
aspects of what even like the pattern behavior, and that was something that was real between us, like what type of, you know, we all always notice this in other relationships that, you know, people almost aren't aware of the pattern or the behaviorisms or the things that they have to adjust to based on how the world or how the community receives them. And I think because, you know, for us, that was a little bit of a difficult pill to swallow at times where, you know, you find yourself really, you know,
the lines get blurred in terms of what our specific situation was, because the fact that we were alienated to a certain degree from certain aspects of the community, not just based on what I did, based upon who we are as individuals and based on the energy that we collectively brought together when we came together. Because she was her own person prior to meeting me. I was my own person prior to meeting her. When we got together, we had no idea that the energy that was garnered from that was also coveted. So as much as people were supporting, there was a lot of people that was hating. And I think what that did was made us more insular.
And it made me more like, yeah, security guard. I wasn't trying to cut you off. I'm sorry.
You're not cutting me off, right?
You just don't want to become the security guard or feel like, you know,
made her feel like she had to do more to protect my position based upon what I do. But what I do has nothing to do with who I am. Who I am existed before me doing this. And what is this I'm doing? What I'm doing is promoting myself to be the best self I can be. I just happen to be a Moorish American doing that. And I just happen to live at a time when that now has become the in vogue thing. But I had no idea that just in me declaring that and me declaring my love for this woman and doing things publicly in that vein,
together that it would create support not only one another, but that created almost like this ring around us that made other people feel as though they couldn't contribute. And I took responsibility for that because, you know, from the beginning, we didn't even plan public engagements or public speakings. It just so happened to be like, word, we're talking, a lot of people are gathering, now someone asks you to speak, and now I'm at the door collecting money, having to deal with a lot of, you know, energy or just different energy throughout the years. And I think, you know, without paying attention, I kind of became the business woman, and in that,
Well, people tried to make her the bad guy and make me the good guy.
Right.
Tried to make it like she was almost the man and I'm like the woman because I'm the one that's out there dealing with people
but
and trying to keep shit as diplomatic or whatever as possible, not go ham on these people when I see them doing wild stuff.
Or like not collecting whatever at the door.
Or not collecting whatever at the door.
Or
whatever.
answering certain calls. So then that kind of, for me, I think because I was so trying to solicit or just, have your brothers be around because there was nobody else to help at times. It made me kind of feel like, let me step up in this way. And I think that...
Like any person in a relationship would do.
I think that it wasn't until we were able to have more move out here and say, wow, let's reconfigure how we're doing things. And that was at a time where all that energy still was trying to follow us. So I think for me, what ended up happening is I felt like I needed to keep a lot of my personal life with him extremely private. But then in that as well, based on it did, and based on the work that he does, he has a certain journey and a certain mission and a certain, a certain rapport with the people that not only needs to be maintained, but I felt that, the more I stepped back in a sense, energetically, the more other things would come and feel as though it could be in its space.
Which again is part of the program.
Which is.
That's part of programming because the goal is everybody say they want to see the black man, the so-called black man and black woman together until they really together. Then once they really together, then it becomes shit like, oh well,
let's not support
she controlling
them.
him.
Let's do this.
He don't have his own mind.
And let's say that's not
crazy.
it at all. Let's say that we're making all that this up.
But it's not because this is what other people who I've spoken to in confidence have come back and told me the word on the street is. Wow. So I guess what we're doing today basically is letting it clear and let you know that there is no public aspect of our relationship. Okay?
Absolutely.
Just so that you know. And whatever relationship I have with this woman is private. And nobody else is really going to know what that is. So any speculations or whatever that's going on with it, that's all on y'all. If you don't hear it from me, if you don't hear it from her specifically, then it's all conjecture. And I'm using this, or we're using this as a umbrella now to show so-called couples and keep it real with so-called couples that regardless to how much you want to keep your relationship as protected or whatever it is, sometimes it can ricochet and create a situation where you wind up trying to protect the relationship so much that you're not really in it. So
right? Or also it alienates and it kind of makes others feel as though they can't be around or contribute. And I don't think that was something that we did energetically at all. I just think that in happenstance, in not doing certain things publicly together, for me as well, it started to allow me to realize like, wow, I'm a lot more relaxed. I don't feel as on guard or as tense, and I don't feel as though, I'm watching my back or having a thing, and that's not anything that he planned or wanted for me to experience, but that's still something that was taking place. So for me, I'd say there's so much that I've learned the last 2 years of not, using certain aspects of a relationship, when someone is as attractive as this and as on their work as he is, you want to constantly be in support of, but I also don't want to uphold this man and make it seem as though we are in a space that we aren't necessarily occupying, because we've had to shift certain things to make sure that we weren't deluding ourselves, or that we weren't, for me at least, I wasn't repeating or being consistent in something because it's what I've become to know. And that for me, having been with this person and not being with anybody else, I've learned these last 2 years in not necessarily having fear in shifting the things that we even became accustomed to. So I say all that to say, don't let any aspect of anything make you feel as though you're in prison or you can't communicate about something, or, and that's definitely on me. But, if I speak about anything that I'm going through, it's a reflection on him based on people knowing that this is the man that I'm with. But is that something that unless we, again, come to you all and say we're not in a relationship like that anymore. So I am saying that to free it up. We've never been ones to not completely enjoy something based on where we are cerebrally and emotionally. So when things shift, it's just to take responsibility for that and not necessarily act as though something is going on when it's not, because it can block whatever the universe has in store for him and for me to learn. So
again, everybody,
much
control
love.
Your relationship. Keep whatever it is that you're dealing with in your personal life personal, and don't wind up, learn from the mistakes of others, man. Don't wind up becoming a poster child of or the role model for what other people feel that their relationship could be, because that's a trap. All right, so love and light to you. Peace.
Peace, you guys.